Right then, everyone. So what I wanted to quickly share with you, just building on the last video, is an example of a finished layout based on this template we have created. So here's one I did earlier. It's mock-up of an article, and what you can see is that there are certain changes I've made. I've made changes to color, I've brought images in, I've put columns in slightly different places, going on to pages 3 and 4. I've moved some of the position of the text, but I've ultimately kept those margins for everything except the things we discussed, the footers, section titles, pages, and images. I've kept the text always in the two larger central columns, and everything sits within that guide as it is supposed to. Let's have a quick look at that in action. So here's a layout that I made earlier using that guide. So I've brought some of my own personal kind of design touches to it, but I've used those guides and columns, those gutters and margins to make sure that my design fits within the kind of framework, the limitations, if you like, of the neon layout. Obviously, or at least I hope it's obvious, those purple and blue and pink guidelines are not going to appear on the final thing. And I do sometimes find them distracting. So toggling them off and on, moving between normal view and preview is, for me, really, really useful, because I ultimately want to be able to see what it looks like without all those lines and check that it does look good. Okay, so you don't have to stick to the exact position here of images. You don't have to stick to the exact position of everything. What you do need to do is just make sure that when you move things around, you're staying within those constraints. So it may be, for example, for your article, that you want to bring your image and you want to have it on the bottom half of the page. That might end up looking really nice. So using this move tool, that's the black arrow up top, I can reposition things. I can bring this, that was the wrong thing. This is where Control plus, zoom in, always useful. I can bring this text up and reposition it up here if I think that that's actually going to look better. I can, if I think it's going to look better, move my pull quotes to a different place. So everything can be moved around, and it's simply a matter of using that tool, click and drag, and repositioning it, thinking about where you want it to go. In this case, the image is actually blocking the page number, but that's not really a problem. You'll find that happens frequently in magazine design. Next time you see a magazine, pick it up, flick through it, and you'll see that the page numbers are fairly often covered by full page images or half page images. Not really an issue if we can't see the page number on everything. You might have, for example, a longer headline, and that headline might be, let's go with Forest, the heartbreak, the hope, and the heartbreak. Great. Okay, so now we've got a longer headline. That fairly obviously means that I'm going to need to move this little byline down to make some space for that. What I do want you to do, though, is to see these blue horizontal lines as great sort of start points for thinking about where you want boxes to start on the page as well. Don't move anything in the margins, don't move the section titles, don't move the footers, don't move the page numbers, but your image credits, your actual images, your text, by all means, experiment with moving them around. There is nothing wrong with that whatsoever. So yeah, do experiment.